Hey guys, it's here bringing you another video. Now welcome back to League Discussion, the series I take a topic, rip it apart my own opinions and experiences, and encourage you guys to join in the conversation in the comment section below. Now just to mention how we do this, so to collect topics and questions, I use a website called Qt. It'll be linked in the description, and your incentive to do it is one, obviously get your question potentially in the series, but two is a chance to win some riot points. So the winner for last month's raffle will be on the screen right now to my left, and that's where if I pick your topic, your name will be entered into a raffle, and then one person is whoever I pick, you win some riot points. If I do a league discussion completely just on one topic, then you automatically win $10 riot points. And there was one person last month, so also I'll be in contact with that person as well. But let's get into it. So we've got some topics and interesting ones on Qt. Again, leave all them there. There's also a vote to the right. There's a poll just that I'm asking everybody what rank you are. It helps me kind of how to phrase my answers a lot of the time. So the first one is just the most popular question. Again, I will sort sometimes through popular or most recent. It varies. And this one is from Cooper7or is Huzzy. Almost all the times when you're in game, you say we have to group. We got a better 5-man than the other team, and you usually agree. Grouping is easier for closing games. What happens when you're on a team that has a weaker team fight? I know splitting is not the solution because the other team gets an easy kill and may force a 4v5 or a big objective. What do I recommend? Okay, so the whole concept of them having a better team comp, this is where a lot of people can get a bit confused. It doesn't really matter. That's the thing. That's why I always say it's better to group. Even if you, like, for example, if you're against a Malphite, Orianna, Yasuo team comp, you're like, oh god, don't want to be fighting that. But in reality, it's all about what you think they're going to do. Majority of people in this game do not play their champions to the maximum potential of that champion. So, for example, say if you play your champion perfectly, you're playing it to 100%. I'd say the average diamond player plays a champion probably to about 80% of what it could do. So there's still 20% of, like, they're not just doing it perfect. Challenger players probably play it to like 90 to 95% perfect. Pro players are nearing perfect, but still not entirely perfect, right? The average player in this game, the average viewer of mine, I can look at it right now. In the vote that I asked you guys to vote on, silver is the most popular and then bronze. So being silver or bronze, which are the two most popular ratings of League, you're looking at people may play their champion 40% of what the champion can actually do, maybe even lower in some cases. Obviously, the lower ranking you go, the lower that will be. So if people are not playing their champion perfectly, then it doesn't really matter who has a better comp. It's about who gets the better situation rather than who has the better team comp for fighting. Hopefully that makes sense. Because, yeah, I've seen some people confused with that, but it's as simple as that. I'd say when you get to about Diamond 2 is when you really need to start thinking they just simply have a better comp than us. So if you're not at Diamond 2, roughly, and again, it's rough, it's not like a precise science, it's not like, oh, I got promoted to Diamond 2, now I have to, like, split push and stuff. It's not a precise science. But yeah, you're talking about the top 0.1% of the game. Like, right now, my main account is in the top 0.2%. I'm still opting to group. But the higher rating I go when I'm playing top lane, I will look to split a little bit more when they have a more favourable team fight, because that's what you have to do when people know what they're doing. So that's basically the answer. Hopefully that makes sense. And again, I never want to offend anybody with these answers. I just answer them the way that they are. And it's as simple as people do not play good enough to warrant changing your tactic around it. It's just simpler. You as 5 people have a better chance of winning, getting a better chance of a pick, CCing that annoying person than if you were to try and split push. So a lot of the time it just simply is group. And obviously there are examples of people winning games without grouping. It happens all the time. But I'm just saying a more consistent way of climbing is grouping. And again, that comes from somebody that not only on my main account has had pretty high ratings, it's more to the point of Unranked Diamond series that I think is more important with this. So I've taken fresh accounts to Diamond in one season 4 times by playing champions that I normally don't even play, by grouping. I very rarely split push in all those series, and that's for a particular reason. So there we go. Thanks very much. Hopefully that answered it and cleared it up. Next one is, well, I put myself back on Ziggs, which is myself, by the way. This was taken from a stream replay that I did a few days ago. So, This person, Frederick Nordby, wants to know, talk about the different non-standard game modes, Blood Moon, Ascension, Earth. Should Riot let most popular, like Blood Moon and Earth, be standard? No. Honestly, like, again, if you don't know my background, I have a background in game design. It's what I did my degree in. Which I got a first in, which is the highest grade you can get. So I know a lot about like game design and mentality of gaming and stuff like that. So the only reason why those modes work is because they don't feel stale. Those modes, even when they get released, people get bored of them actually very quickly. That's why they're only generally released for a week or two at a time. If they were permanently available, I think you'd have a Twisted Treeline problem. Twisted Treeline being the 3v3 map is basically not played at all. I reckon if they took Twisted Treeline away as being a permanent feature and made it only available occasionally, I reckon it would actually be more popular. Because then people would be like, oh, it's only available now, I'm going to play it now. And they won't get that feeling of it's being stale or it's just a little bit boring. And that is the problem with Blood Moon and Snow King and whatever these maps are. Because, yeah, they just get stale very quickly. Again, just to kind of say, Summoner's Rift, although it has become more gimmicky, it is not a gimmick map. And this is why I don't like Rift Herald or Plants, because these are gimmick features implemented in a non-gimmick mode. Where Blood Moon, the Thresh thing, whatever that was, Ascension, those are gimmick game modes. And there's nothing wrong with that. They're just made for pure enjoyment. And that's the problem. Gimmicks wear off very quickly. And that's why they'll never be available permanently. ARAM as a map, I think, is actually way less gimmicky. If you actually look at it, way less gimmicky than all the other game modes like there are. And that's why I think ARAM is a permanent feature, because it's just very standard. It's actually not gimmicky at all. You get a random champion and you play on the same map and you just fight. That's it. And that's the end of it. There's no complicated mechanic. There's no control point you have to go for. It's basically a very condensed Summoner's Rift with one lane, but the gimmick is you're playing random champions, but that's it. So yeah, hopefully that answered the question. I don't think it would be a good idea at all for it to be a permanent game feature, because I think they'd be less popular. Next question. Here's a good one. Indiana Jaws asks, do I think Riot is reaching a cap with their champion designs? I see three things that makes me think about that. One, more and more champions that are a mash of older champion abilities. True. Two, older champions being abandoned and their new, better counterparts being played. And three, newer champions that are different, are either so complex that they can only be played in high ELO, such as Azir, or have to be nerfed to the ground, like Talia or Aurelion. Yes and no. So, again, I've played this game from the beginning, so I've seen practically every single champion release. I might have missed two brand new champion releases at the beginning of the game, but very little. I've been here for the vast majority of champion releases and champion designs and all that stuff. And what I'd say is Riot every few years goes through a cycle of designers. So the problem with having employees that are specifically designers is those are humans that have tendencies towards a certain mechanic a lot of the time. So if you look at what designers designed what, a lot of the time those champions have a little bit of similarities behind them, if not anything. You know, there's a champion designer. I'm not very good with the names of them, but there's a champion designer that did Jhin. He does champions all the time that are just like have a mechanic of 4, like 4 of something. Jhin has 4 bullets. He's got another champion that's 4 of something. And again, it's off the top of my head. But it's very common for these champion designers to kind of do similar things. So it could be a thing that they just need to hire new champion designers or promote new people to do champion designs. That maybe their current designers are just running out of ideas. And that's the human factor behind game design. Is that sometimes as a human, you're just like, I don't know what else to do. So there's that. Secondly is, you have to also look at what your limitations are in game of League of Legends. So what mechanics would actually work? There are 1,000 mechanics that you could potentially do in a video game like this, but would they work in a isometric fate top-down view for a MOBA? Would that work? And that's, you know, a lot about it. A lot of it is balance. A lot of it has to go within the current kind of grain of League of Legends. If you release a champion that is so different to everything in the game, it's just going to feel out of place and probably lose its place. So there's a lot into it. I like this question because, again, it kind of goes within my game design aspects a little bit more. But the problem that you're facing now is that there are champions that are old, like you've mentioned, and they aren't getting played. So Riot as a company is wanting either these champions to be updated for their reworks, or they like specific mechanics that these old champions have and want to implement them to the new. Like a good example to me is Malphite's an old champion and so is Pantheon. And they were like, okay, neither of those are really played in competitive, but we like the mechanic that both of these champions have. What can we do? Give it to Galio. Galio's ultimate is a combination between Malphite ultimate and Pantheon ultimate, in theory. So that's what they did. They like the mechanics of that. They like the sound of that. Put it in a new kit. Put it in a rework. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I do agree with your point, though, that they are kind of samey. Like, knockups was like a crazy thing in the last year, where maybe Riot just have to look to bring new designers in. There are some designers that just aren't very popular in the community, that like you're very outspoken, and generally their designs aren't actually liked that much or feel oppressive. I think what the champion designer that just did Kane, I think he's one of these champion designers that isn't well liked in the community, because he generally designs champions that are a little bit like oppressive. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But then on to your point that champions are becoming more complex. I think that's naturally going to happen. When League of Legends was a new game, it had to be basic because the players' base was basic. What you have to imagine, the average player in League of Legends now is not a new player. The average player has probably played for a couple of years. So they are expanding the complex and making the game a little bit more spicy than before. And that happens in every single game that you probably can think of. When FIFA first came out, there was no skill moves or anything. Those got added later on because the player base improved and their design improved and they could implement harder mechanics for the player base. So hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, I do agree that some of the designs are a little bit repetitive in places. All right, how long have we been going for? Roughly about 10 minutes or so. So we'll answer like 2 more. Okay, we've got a question. I think this is another question by... Yeah, it's another question. And by the way, I do not mind if you do multiple questions. Go for it. If you've got multiple questions, this guy's just been entered twice to the giveaway. Frederick Nordby again. Talk about clickbait. I mean it. It's a huge topic if you want to dive into it. Yeah, sure. So clickbait is not specifically to League of Legends, but we can definitely link it to League of Legends. So this is more of a YouTube topic than anything else, but trust me, I will talk about League particularly. So clickbait is something that has come around, the past couple of years really on YouTube, and the reason for it is because when one person starts to do it, it's very hard to keep up with that person. Clickbait works. That's the problem with clickbait, right? It forces people to click on your videos more, therefore you get higher views and everybody that does similar content around you gets left behind. So what do they start doing? They start clickbaiting as well because they don't want to get left behind. Now this actually happened in the League of Legends community. I don't know, maybe a year ago it started in the League community more. Obviously you do have YouTubers that kind of have always done it. You've even had LOL YouTubers that put females in their thumbnails, which has nothing to do with the video. Which obviously I think that's like the worst type of clickbait. But to me, basically, the principle of clickbait is sometimes misinterpreted. So just to kind of fully make sure everybody is on the same page of what I believe clickbait is and what the internet believes clickbait is clickbait is if you're basically promising something in your title or your thumbnail that isn't actually in the video or isn't enough in the video to warrant the click. So for example, if I did a video saying legendary Ziggs and I didn't go legendary, that's clickbait. Sure, I'm playing Ziggs, but I didn't go legendary. So that's clickbait. It's saying something that's going to happen or giving you the impression that it's going to happen when it doesn't. Another one is buying my new car, but I just go look at cars. I don't buy a new car. That's clickbait. So that's the idea. But if my video title is buying a new car, which is a very, like, big title that people probably want to see because it's always getting a new car. But if I actually buy the new car, that's not clickbait. That's just a good video title. And that's what's happened to the League of Legends community recently, especially in the YouTube scene. So, like, there are certain YouTubers that are getting a lot more hate for it. Like Foxdrop, I know, has been having a hard time recently. Like, people think he's doing it a lot more. And I'd say a lot, sure there is examples that people are doing it more, but for the vast majority, I think, of League of Legends channels, a lot of it is just titling a video to make more people click on it. It's that simple. I'm not very good at doing this. It's why my channel is not huge. A great example that I can give, and again, I mean this by the most respect, as I really like the guy himself. I've never watched his videos, but I've spoken to him and he seems like a really nice guy, and we've helped each other out in different aspects throughout the years. Solo Renekton only. So my channel was bigger than Solo Renekton only's like a year ago. So much so that his YouTube channel wasn't doing great for him. He got annoyed with League of Legends. He quit League of Legends to go play Overwatch, and then he came back. Anyway, he came back and then he basically rebranded, and then he wasn't just a Renekton player, he was a top lane player. Now, the difference between my videos and his, similar in aspects, both commentary channels, but he does more wacky builds on Smurfs, and I still go with my main account and stuff and just kind of plays normal. But he can title his videos amazingly well, like, you know, full AP Renekton and stuff like that. That's interesting. That's something that I can't do. And you've seen the rise of his channel. He's now over 200,000 subscribers, and my channel was bigger than his a year ago. And that's where, by the way, that's where clickbait, but he's not really clickbaiting, works. It's shown that it works. But again, his content isn't clickbait. He's just changed his content to be more appealing to the masses, where my content is definitely more niche. So that's just a good example. Sometimes it's not clickbait. Sometimes it's just somebody being smarter with their career. You know, if I were to be really smart and want to be safer with my career, I'd do exactly what he'd do, because so many YouTubers are now doing it. Wacky builds, weird builds, going on gold Smurfs and just getting legendary every game, only uploading wins. Like, I do that all the time, but I don't, because I probably would get fed up of that after a while, because it would kind of get boring, and I'm like, where's the competition? But, yeah, so that's the talk about clickbait. It's annoying, and that's why I personally don't clickbait myself, because whenever I have got clickbaited in the past, it's annoying. Will I rage about it? Will I dislike the video? Probably not. Like, I'm not that type of person. If I dislike a video, if I dislike the content creator, I just won't watch anymore. Like, it's that simple. They just lose me as a viewer. So yeah, that's pretty much the conversation. But thanks very much for the topic. It's obviously a topic I could talk a lot more about. But I think that's enough for now. All right, let's do one more topic for today. So I probably should sometimes prepare these in advance, but I kind of like picking them while we're live, if that makes sense. Okay, so here we go. This is from the Audio Union. Do you think Riot Games should IP ban players? It's an interesting question, but in reality, it wouldn't really work that well. Anybody that knows anything about like computing could probably change their IP without much issue. Or if they're known to be toxic, they could just run a proxy all the time, and then if they get banned on that proxy IP, then they just change the IP. So like, it wouldn't really work. IP bans aren't, you know, a legit thing. They probably would work against kids, because kids wouldn't really know what to do. They'd be like, oh, I've been permanently banned, help. Which I guess to that respect it would help, but yeah, to the average, like, you know, 20-year-old rager that gets perma-banned all the time, probably wouldn't do anything. I think the problem, like, the current ban system, I think is okay when you are permanently banning people's accounts, because some people don't see the point in permanently banning an account if a person can just get another account. But that's the point. They have to get another account. It's a punishment of some form. They have to either go buy an account, which is obviously against the rules again. They have to level up another account, which takes time. Whatever it may be, it is a form of punishment. And obviously you could go to the extreme and have the Tyler 1 example, but obviously that only will work with content creators. The only reason that they can do that to Tyler 1 is because if they see him physically streaming or see a video with a specific account, they can ban it. But the average player, they can't do that to, because they don't know if they don't know who's that person. So yeah, do I think punishments should be more severe? God, yes. Like, half the time when people, you know, wish certain diseases or terrible things upon others, they don't get punished. And Riot say they have a very not, you know, they don't have a relaxed opinion apparently about those things, but I see that's happening all the time, so apparently they might have a relaxed opinion about it. So who knows? But IP banning will not work. It literally will take 2 minutes to change your IP if you know anything about computing. Also, like I mentioned earlier, if you are known and you know you are a toxic person, you could just put a proxy on loophole around it, and then they don't even ban you in the first place. So yeah, that wouldn't work. But anyway, that's going to be it for this league discussion. Just to mention this video, because again, sometimes people think I should like talk about the game itself that we're in. If I could remember how to bring up the UI again, that would be fantastic. Which one is it? That one? There we go. So just, whoa, look at the mini-map going nuts. These are all the pings that we've missed throughout the game, by the way. So just to mention this game particularly, if I could actually get the menu up. All the controls are so weird with this thing. I don't think we can. But just to mention, I won this game on Ziggs. I went legendary at the end. We went 16 kills and something. I was killing people for fun. And yeah, this was one of the games that kind of got us nearer to Diamond 2 promo. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, throw a like on it. I enjoy doing these league discussions, even though they're not the most popular series. I enjoy doing them. But yeah, like it if you like it, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys next time.